So first thing that I would do is the domain, all real numbers. I didn't say if it goes up or down, but I know it goes up. So as soon as I know it goes up, that means the maximum is no. Hey, why not do things I'm good at? I know the y-intercept starts with a 0. I also remember that when I plug in 0 gone, boom, -5. Why not do things I'm good at first? Now I'm going to do my cute little box, doing the x-intercepts because I feel like it. I do my box, and I get x minus 5, x plus 1, which gives me 5 and -1. So now I know my intercepts are 5, 0, and -1, 0. Notice I have it in yellow to see the connections. Well, I'm the type of person that I would rather see what's in the middle. I could, with my vertex, do the -b over 2a, but I would prefer not to. It is best for me, I think I'm just going to know that the middle of 5 and -1 is 2. But if I did -b over 2 times a, I get the exact same thing. If I do the number line, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, boom, there's my 2. All different ways. Well, now that I have my x value, I'm going to plug that in, show your work, and I'm going to figure out the y value. So 4 minus 8. I figure I can do this part fast because you get the game. So now I know the y value is -9. I'll make that a little nicer. Okay, so if I know my vertex, I know that's my minimum. It's going to happen 25 more times, okay? Because there's my minimum, boom, in case you didn't get that. I can also do, oh, it's +2. Thank you so much. I can also do my range, y, it's up, greater than, well, it's just the y value of my vertex. And now I've done all that information. Now I'm going to do my table. So if I'm going to do my table, let's make sure that's very clear, that's +2. My vertex goes in the middle. Doesn't, yeah, it's fine. And then I'm going to go 1, 0, -1, 3, 4, 5. Well, the cool thing is I have the 0, boom. That means that's -5. So I know that guy matches at -5. I want to see if any of my zeros are there. Yes, they made it. My 5 and my -1. So my intercepts, 0, 0. So all I really have to do is either plug in 1 or 3. So I'm going to show my work for the 1. Yeah. And I got my table. Last thing to do is graph this whole thing. -1, 0, 0, -5, 1, -8. We're going to pretend this actually fits on the graph. And then 2, -9. Now I match, match, match. I think I'm off. Yeah, shoot, I'm off. Because I overmatched. Whatever. You guys get it. Now, I will tell you, I don't need you to label everything, but I need one thing. Which means I better write it right here. Now, I want you to notice I didn't purposely forget the line of symmetry. I forgot to do the line of symmetry until I drew it and then realized that. So be careful. So what I like about the vertex is it's all in vertex form. So I'm just going to hammer out all those right now. Vertex 5, 1. Vertex 0, -3. Vertex 2, 6. Vertex, vertex, vertex. All right, direction and shape. If it's greater than 1, it's narrow. If it's less than 1, it's Y. And if it's equal to 1, it stays. Okay, not a 5, it stays. So when I look at this, I see that this is less than 1, so it's wide. And then as soon as I see the negative, it's down. Next one. I see the 5. 5 is bigger than 1, so it's narrow. The 5 is positive, so it's going up. Let me put that in yellow so you know how they relate to each other. Last one. Well, there's no number in front. That means it's equal to 1, so it stays. That positive imaginary 1 is positive, so it goes up. Now, some of us are fancy and we can do the x-intercepts in our head, but I'd much rather draw a picture and then figure it out to be solid. So when I look, I'm literally going to follow my own directions. 5, 1, draw it wide going down. And when I draw it wide going down, 1, 2, there are 2 x-intercepts. Next one, 0, -3. It's narrow going up. 1, 2, 2 x-intercepts. Last one, right 2, up 6. It's just a normal thing going up. It's not touching this thing at all, so there's 0. All right, so I figured out how many are here. There's 4, 7. Is that right? What's the next one? 12, which means I see the pattern is +3, +5. If you remember this before, that's +7. That means there's 19. So if this was +3, this was +1, that means there's 3. So if you remember, that's when we had our start. So there's my start with my 3. That means if I'm drawing figure 4, I got my 3, and then if it's 4, it's a 4 by 4, which is 16. Make sure you don't put 19 in there. And then I'm going to fill it in, 3, 4, 7, 12, 19, plus, I've got to put it in pink, +1, +3, +5, +7, +9, 28, +11, 39. I can't write. +13, 52. Hopefully I'm right. Yeah. All right, draw a sketch of figure 100. Well, I know I got to start with my 3. 100 by 100 is a 1 with 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. Show your work. Add it up. Don't forget the word tiles. That will be annoying for you. Create a function. T of n. Doing it in yellow. A lot of people lost points because they put y equals. I'm picky. T of n equals n squared plus your start. All right, first thing it wants is the vertex. Please don't get that wrong. Now, I don't know about you, but this x-intercept seems like a workout. So I'm going to go straight down here to domain, all real numbers. Well, the range is all about the y value of the vertex. I know it's going up because of the 2, so y is greater than or equal to -8. Oops, just kidding, don't do that. Set notation. I know if it's going up, the minimum is my vertex, and the maximum is no. Might as well get that out of the way. Now, the x-intercepts. The x-intercept means I set it equal to 0. So I'm going to go 0 equals 2, x plus 1 squared minus 8. Add 8 to both sides. I think a lot of you remember this now. It's just the hard part is when do you do it? And it's whenever it's in vertex form. Square root, plus or minus 2 equals x plus 1 minus 1 minus 1. -1 plus 2, 1 comma 0. -1 minus 2, -3 comma 0. And those are my answers for my x-intercept. That's the only time I'm testing that, so it's probably going to be worth some points. For the y-intercept, well, I know the y-intercept starts with a 0, so I'm going to take the 0 and plug it in for my equation. And I'm going to go 2, 0 plus 1 squared minus 8. 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 squared is 1. You don't have to show me all of your work, but you need to tell me that you didn't need a calculator to get the answer. Okay? Now, here's one thing that's a little bit different. Usually I say, here, make a cute little table and graph it. I don't need you to make a cute little table. I'm okay with you graphing the vertex, -1, -8, graphing the intercepts, and then graphing the y-intercept, and just straight copying it. If you want to make a table, I want to show you that you can. You would go 1, -8, 0, -1, 2, 3, ... and you'd get that same thing. If it's too hard for you to just take the points and plot them here, make a table for your own sanity. but I don't need the table. Now I want to point out something about this problem right here. If this problem said this, and you were doing the intercepts, and you got this. I know it's messy, but you get the game. And I divided, and I square root. What's the problem? It's negative, which means there are no x-intercepts. Okay? So if there weren't any x-intercepts, and I asked you to graph this thing, your vertex would be negative 1, 8, faking it here. There aren't any x-intercepts. You would plug in 0, and you would get 0, 10 for your y-intercept. And I'm okay with you just faking it. If you don't know what I'm saying, you would do a table, put the vertex in the middle, blah, 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 and graph it. So when I look, up, 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 down, find the one that's negative. Happy birthday to me. It's D. 1 down, 3 to go. Next, I'm going to focus on the intercepts. Well, if you look, there's only one x-intercept. Well, that has 2 of them because there's 2 x's. That has 2 of them because it's 2 x's. Well, that says squared, which means 2, but they're the exact same thing. So the answer is C. Because if I set this equal to 0, I get 6, and that's it. And remember, when it's just a number, I don't care about it. It's not an x. Now, if I set this one equal to 0, that's 6. If I set that one equal to 0, it's 0. That matches with B. Let me just double check. That's 2. That's negative 6. 2, negative 6, and I'm out. All right, so I'm going to take the negative 4, and I'm putting it in for the x's. Since you don't have to do number 6 and 7, there's a lot of space for me to actually do this problem. Plus 13. Always do the exponent first. Remember, I'm recording. A negative times a negative is a positive. 64 plus 8 is 72. Plus 13. Well, I was supposed to get 85. So they are equal. So the answer is yes.